Story 1. As of January 24th, I have been free of all opioids for the first time in 5 years. I would say my year is looking pretty great, honestly. It is a little bit of a change of pace compared to the rest of this discussion. Story 2. Physically safe and comfortable. Mentally, there is an overwhelming sense of impending doom and a feeling of being surrounded by evil. Story 3. I turned 40 and realized that I am not happy to continue my life as it is, professionally, financially, and mentally, for the next 40 years. I am making moves to pivot my existence into something I am more aligned with. Story 4. My life has been spiraling downwards since 2020. In 2020, I was attacked by Iran with ballistic missiles and narrowly escaped annihilation. That same year, the COVID-19 pandemic began. In 2021, the pandemic continued. In 2022, my dog died. In 2023, my mother died. In 2024, my wife died. In 2025, Donald Trump was sworn in as president. This whole decade has been challenging. Story 5. Amazing. I lost 40 pounds, received a significant raise without changing roles, and just returned from a vacation in Cancun. Story 6. It's an absolute mess. However, through it all, I have come to realize how amazing my friends and family are, and I will never take them for granted. I have also discovered how strong and resilient I can be. Story 7. I have faced many challenges recently. I lost my job and my apartment, and I have experienced homelessness. I have also been feeling like a failure every day, and I have been seeing an older Latina woman. Story 8. Completely nicotine and tobacco-free. Light on alcohol. Unfortunately, light on physical exercise too. Decent diet though. So much cannabis gummies. My wife and I are very unsure of how we are going to manage our student loan debt, especially with the recent situation involving federal injunctions and income-driven repayment plans. No one in the U.S. federal government seems to know what is happening right now, similar to the COVID-19 years. In a week, we might not need to worry, or we could owe double. I work in supply chain management, and with the upcoming changes regarding tariffs, I don't really want to work in this field anymore. However, I also do not want to be job hunting right now. It's not great, but I'm not unhoused, sick, or living in a war zone, so I'm not complaining. I'm not smoking or drinking either. Story 9. My personal life has been better than it has in years, but it is hard to enjoy that given everything that is happening. Story 10. Surprisingly brilliant. I am aware that negative forces are challenging this. Story 11. Driven by duty, I navigate work and single parenting while guiding my child through their 30s as a single father. Life can feel gray and mundane, yet it is also filled with moments of pure love and joy. Overall, it has been a 7 out of 10 so far. Story 12. I like it so far, apart from my dad having cancer. Otherwise, it's good. I have a nice job, nice friends, and I feel content with myself. I just wish my dad didn't have cancer. Story 13. Our portfolios are down because of the leader America chose to be president. Prices are increasing, and unfortunately, the situation with Vladimir Putin is ongoing. Story 14. I have been doing great. I have a new job that pays me more than my last one, and it is much less stressful. I have saved money, and my bank account is growing again. I have also been sleeping well. I just celebrated 6 months of sobriety. I empathize with those who are feeling stressed and overwhelmed, but I am in a really good place right now. Keep your heads up, everyone. It will get better if you make an effort to improve it. Don't let life bring you down. Fight back. Story 15. Much better than last year. I received an award at work that I'm happy with. I got a new phone, and my hair is growing back after a stressful year. I have gained some muscle along with a little fat, so things are pretty good so far. Story 16. Honestly, it's great. I feel less anxious and am getting out more. Every day has something that keeps life fresh and fulfilling. I hope this continues. Story 17. Our department should consist of 5 employees, but there are only 3 of us. For the last 3 months, we have all been taking turns being sick, including our families. My boss sometimes works from home when she is sick. The chief executive officer asks if we even need an additional person since we can get all the work done. I got a new PC though. Story 18. It has been one of those milestone years where significant changes and decisions occur. This only happens every few years. Story 19. I experienced a depressive episode, became ill twice, and my best friend is moving 3 hours away. On the positive side, I began therapy and medication. My job is accommodating regarding sick days, and my friend is moving because they are inheriting a house, so things are not as bad as they seem. Story 20. I'm honestly surprised and proud. I never thought I would come as far as I have. This year has shown me how strong and capable I am. I'm exhausted, but I paid off my car and paid cash for a procedure that is being done on Thursday. It is something I have been working toward for 2 years. For the first time in my 33 years of life, I can say I feel like I will be okay. Story 21. I am more financially successful than I have ever been. I am in better health than I have been in years. My daughter, who is in her 20s, is thriving both professionally and personally. The future is so bright that I need to wear shades. Story 22. I spent a month in the hospital because my colon became severely problematic. For almost that entire time, I was experiencing pain at a level of at least 7 out of 10. Now, in my mid-20s, I have a colostomy bag attached to my side for the foreseeable future. Overall, it's been quite challenging. Story 23. I am very busy with a lot happening at work right now. Additionally, I am studying for an upcoming exam that will provide me with a qualification to enhance my career. Time is passing quickly. Story 24. Keep going. It's a house of cards, more stable than before, but anything can happen at any time, especially with those in power. Story 25. The best few months of the past few years have been remarkable. My daughter was born at the end of December, and I had a significant amount of time off work. Work has been going great, and life in general has made me the happiest I have been in a long time. Story 26. I got a girlfriend. This has truly been the best year of my life so far, despite facing challenges such as aging grandparents, a dying dog, and armed aggression from my country's neighbor. Story 27. A lot of stressful and tragic events piled up in the beginning, but things seem to be calming down so far. I have already been through a year's worth of challenges. Story 28. I would say it has been a dynamic mix of creativity and connection. From assisting with design projects and marketing strategies to exploring insights in artificial intelligence writing, every conversation has felt purposeful. How about you? How is 2025 treating you so far? Story 29. I am filled with gratitude that my medications are finally working, allowing me to navigate the challenges of our society right now. Story 30. All the friends I had in 2024 abandoned me and were racist toward me. However, on the bright side, I have lots of travel plans, so it is not horrendous, but it could be better. I am very social, so I've already made new friends. I obviously cared after 5 years of friendship. Yes, that's 2025. Story 31. To be honest, I hardly remember it, and it is somewhat alarming that we are over 3 months into it, and I cannot think of a single memorable event aside from ending up in handcuffs for the first time ever, which has me feeling somewhat unsettled. My 2024 started with a terrible car crash, forcing me into a situation where I had a short amount of time to find a new place to live. Then it was an otherwise uneventful year as I kept my head down until I met someone special in September 2024, courted them for a month, and we got together the week leading up to Halloween. Things were incredible for a month before they collapsed while walking to the bathroom at my place in late November. They passed away in early December, just a few days before my 40th birthday. I have been, I guess, floating on autopilot, feeling numb since then. I ended up getting a driving under the influence charge last month and haven't been behind the wheel again since. I also have not taken the necessary steps to prepare myself for the upcoming court date, enrolling in the classes or paying the Department of Motor Vehicles fee to reinstate my license. I do not want to be all doom and gloom, but I feel certain at times that there will not be a 2026 for me, and honestly, I hardly even register that 2025 has begun. I do not remember yesterday and have no plans for tomorrow. Meanwhile, I am commenting on Reddit at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on a Monday morning, where I am supposed to be doing something, but I do not know what off the top of my head without checking the calendar, nor do I even care about it. I am quite certain I will not be doing whatever it is. In summary, I feel lost right now. Story 32. I went from being unemployed to returning to college with an internship and 2 jobs. I am very busy, but I feel like my life has purpose again. Story 33. Fine if I stay offline. I may be moving faster than I like. This is my first full year in a new position at work that involves a lot less travel. I'm realizing that traveling for a week or 2 each month really broke up the monotony of my job. Story 34. Fantastic. I went to Las Vegas in February. I'm going to Florida in May. The weather will start warming up. I'm alive and well. Life is good. Story 35. Excellent. I received a raise and a new truck. I'm looking forward to lower rates. Everything is good in my neighborhood in Massachusetts. Story 36. Water main break. Refrigerator died. The heat system needed replacement. At least the weather has been decent most of the time to get my garden in for the upcoming economic downturn. Story 37. It feels like we are in some kind of farce. I graduated from college and I am looking for a job. I am trying to exist, and then I look at the news and think, am I building a wooden house in a forest fire? I know the news is designed to provoke that response, but when you glance at the stock market for just a moment, it is hard to deny the reality. Story 38. My seemingly healthy husband inexplicably passed away last year at the age of 34, and I just had to put our 9-year-old cat to sleep due to cancer. I'm not suicidal, but I wouldn't mind if an asteroid hit me and took me out of the game. Story 39. A shelf in your office that holds a very important piece of equipment is collapsing. About a third of your coworkers want the shelf to fall. Another third does not want it to fall and rushes to try to catch it. Some others do not even notice the shelf is falling, nor do they care because it does not affect their job. You stand there watching almost in slow motion as that important item smashes to the ground. That's what it feels like. Story 40. Windy. I cannot remember a time in my life when there was so much wind. I hope it lasts into the summer. Story 41. Absolutely insane. In terms of politics, it's like someone who has no clue about geography or history is trying to play Age of Civilizations. Germany allying with Poland against the combined threat of Russia and the United States, and so on. Story 42. This is the worst experience in my 40 years on this planet, thanks to the actions of Donald Trump and Elon Musk negatively impacting our government. Story 43. Healthier for Americans who need it the most. You can see them protesting and marching. Many of them appear as if they have not been outside in years or are close to death, so spending time in nature is beneficial for them. Story 44. My grandmother's husband died of cancer last month, so she is struggling. It ruined all the great plans we had for this summer. We had a fun trip planned, but now it's off. Right after that, my friend's father also died of cancer. Feels overwhelming. My friend group had a falling out, forcing me to choose sides. The country is in a tough situation. My mother is more stressed and depressed than ever right now over her life. To top it off, my epilepsy has been acting up again recently. I was so happy and looking forward to this year. My aunt and cousin were going to move here in the summer, something I had been waiting my whole life for. It was supposed to be a happy and fun time, but with my grandmother's husband passing, everyone is sad and all our plans are ruined. So far, this year has been one of the worst in a long time for me. Story 45. I thought a government run by the least qualified individuals would have some humorous moments. It's been chaotic and I am at peak anxiety. Story 46. I had a mental breakdown at the end of January, and it took weeks to recover. When I finally started to improve, my dad got sick and was hospitalized twice. He is doing better now, but will need antibiotics for 2 weeks and possibly bladder-related surgery in a few weeks. Story 47. Wet, with 670 millimeters of rain in the past 4 days alone. So far this year, rainy days have outnumbered sunny days by 4-1. Story 48. I quit the best job of my life in 2025. I was finally able to save some money, but after working so hard, I am completely burnt out. I have no motivation to return to work and am trying to stretch out my resources. For context, I experienced burnout early in the season due to being sick and not maintaining a good diet or sleep schedule. The last straw was when I burned out again in 2025. At one point, I wasn't sure I would wake up when I fell asleep. This situation made me reevaluate my direction in life. Story 49. Honestly, it is pretty tough. There is a lot of anxiety around money, specifically student loans, and a lot of depression about the world under this administration in the United States. However, I'm in therapy and doing my best to live day by day, control what I can, and appreciate what I have. I don't want to look back one day and realize these were some of the good days that I neglected. Story 50. Things are challenging in 2024, with increased deaths and drama, which I am trying to avoid. Story 51. I am very worried about the future of my country and our allies, whom I still consider allies. I have worked hard at my job, and significant opportunities have begun to arise. Essentially, I have been a freelancer for a little over a year, and I have a chance to guide the projects I have been working on. It is exciting, but very nerve-wracking to wait for a response. Story 52. It has been a difficult year. I have lost family and friends to illness, complications from surgery, and overdoses on top of everything else happening in the world. I feel isolated, as I have no one to talk to about my feelings. Recently, my younger sibling informed me that they received a terminal diagnosis, and my mother called to let me know she has partially lost her vision. I am ready for this year to end, and it is only March. Story 53. I have been single since becoming disabled in 2019. My ex told me we were breaking up because he couldn't handle having a toddler and a disabled girlfriend. It made me feel untouchable and like no one would want me ever again. A couple of weeks ago, I matched with a really cute guy on Bumble, and now I feel like a silly schoolgirl because of how much I like him and how much he seems to like me. Our second date is on Saturday, and we have already made plans to hang out as far out as late April. Story 54. Empty and cold. The 2020s in general have been the worst decade I have ever lived through. Each week it gets worse. Story 55. Pros. The Eagles won the Super Bowl, and the parade was an amazing memory for me and my nephews. My immediate family is in good health. We have a baby boy arriving in, at most, 38 days. I have watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy twice so far. My paternity leave is set up. Cons. The speed of American decline is concerning. My parents are increasingly falling into extremist beliefs and conspiracy theories, leading to a semi-estrangement. For example, they believe our Democratic governor is running a criminal enterprise with his Republican attorney general. 6 people I know have lost their jobs due to cryptocurrency issues, and my biggest client, a major government agency, has cut our sales projections for the next fiscal year in half. My wife has experienced a very uncomfortable pregnancy, which has disrupted our sleep. 2 friends from work on my team have also suffered the loss of their babies due to miscarriage or preterm labor, contributing to additional sadness and anxiety. Rating 3.5 out of 10. Would not currently recommend. Story 56. Starting to establish my own path with a solid HVAC career after overcoming depression following my time in the military. Story 57. Personally, I had a good month. I took a vacation in January, worked some overtime, and now I am in Uganda on a contract assignment for the United Nations and the State Department through the end of the month. Story 58. The looming threat of World War III on my continent, regardless of how unlikely it may be, combined with the economic recession that has just begun, has resulted in a poor start to the year. Story 59. The contrast between my personal life going well and the world falling apart is quite strange. Story 60. It's been going well. It's hard, but you learn a lot from it. The challenges are worth it. College life. Story 61. Why can't you just relax? I spent January studying and felt a lot of anxiety due to university finals. In February, I had some issues that kept me up at night. Things seem to be calming down now. Story 62. I am experiencing a continuing depressive episode and I am not feeling well, both mentally and physically. I am undergoing transcranial magnetic stimulation and ketamine treatments, but I don't think they are helping. The political landscape in my country is causing me stress, and my European friends are concerned and somewhat morbidly fascinated by it. However, my cats are healthy. I have a wonderful husband, and this season of Diablo 4 is quite enjoyable. So, I am trying to focus on gratitude. Story 63. Excuse me? Have you been unaware since the new year? How do you think this year is going for anyone not in the White House right now? Story 64. This is the closest to a major world-encompassing war we have been since World War II ended. Not that we didn't see it coming, but the worst of it is still ahead. There is more chaos on the horizon. Story 65. What day is it? Is the only thing that comes to mind. Going through a devastating breakup, the first few months of the year have felt like I am just crashing. I often don't even know what day it is, forgetting things regularly and not sleeping. Story 66. We visited the area above the Blue Ridge Parkway northeast of Asheville yesterday. The parkway remains closed due to hurricane damage. At the ridge, 90% of the towering trees that are over 100 years old have been blown over in the same direction. There is a narrow path cleared by chainsaw, but otherwise, there is destruction in every direction as far as the eye can see. This is 2025 so far, complete obliteration on every level. Everything that holds value for me has been destroyed or is being actively destroyed in real time. Story 67. Interesting news from the United States. Finally, some truth from the American administration regarding the war in Ukraine. I appreciate the idea of Dogecoin, although I am a bit disappointed by the lack of significant documents like those related to Diddy, Epstein, RFK, and MLK. There is total disappointment in the Democrats and their actions, as well as their lack of vision or preparedness for a Republican presidency, House, and Senate. There is enormous foolishness in the policies of European Union leaders, who seem to believe their own lies. Overall, I found this to be quite productive from a personal perspective, and the weather has been decent. I was also shocked by the trade of Doncic to the Lakers. Story 68. Slow descent into madness. Stress has increased because of a job I dislike, which has also prevented me from training, my biggest stress reliever over the past 5 years. It's a double whammy. I can't wait to leave. Story 69. Didn't realize I was in a simulation of the game Civilization until Trump decided to start making threats to annex his allies. Story 70. A near copy of every year that preceded it. Quite literally, nothing much has changed for me personally since I left school nearly 20 years ago. Story 71. That experience was truly difficult. I hope things will improve. My son ended up on a mental health hold at the hospital because he made some poor choices and hurt himself. He's back home, and we are focusing on his recovery with therapy, support from social workers, and medication. He seems to struggle to understand the importance of these changes. I hoped that his accident would serve as a turning point for him to make better decisions. His mental state is concerning. Story 72. Existential despair for global stability continues to grow with every news story related to Ukraine, Russia, Gaza, or the United States. On the positive side, work is going well and the weather is nice, I suppose. Story 73. In one word, shit. Dad's Alzheimer's journey ended in February after he spent all of January in the hospital. Story 74. Could be better, could be worse. At this point, I stopped caring about how the rest of 2025 goes and handed my worries over to my superhuman spirit. He made the plans in advance. I am following his plans. Story 75. I'm having a great year so far. I wish I could express sympathy for those posting about their difficult experiences, but it seems that many would rather remain unhappy than take action to improve their situation. Story 76. I started the year without my late husband. I moved out of our apartment into a new place to create new memories. Work is going well, and I really like my new home. Story 77. It has been an incredibly difficult time. First, we had to put our 15-year-old dog down. Then, I found out that my youngest child, who still lives with us, flunked out of college. Additionally, my wife filed for divorce. As a federal employee, I face uncertainty regarding my job each day. To make matters worse, my father was in the intensive care unit. I constantly feel like the weight of the world is on my chest. Story 78. My crippling anxiety has returned after a 10-year hiatus, which reflects how my 2025 is going. Let's describe it as shocking and eventful. Story 79. I applied principles I learned in a seminar about managing my anxiety in situations that increase those levels. Story 80. The only bright light was the birth of my daughter on January 23rd. However, I later discovered that my husband was cheating on me. I feel devastated. He brought the other woman to our house the night after our baby was born while I was at the hospital. He continued to cheat while I was recovering, leaving me at home with the 5 kids while he saw her at a nearby hotel. I am struggling, not to mention the state of the country. These are tough times. Story 81. I am finally starting to feel and see the results of all the work I have put into myself over the past few years. I took the longest and hardest road to get here, but I made it. I turned the corner, and there is no going back. I am truly thankful to be here, and I try to enjoy each moment. Now it is time to have some fun. Story 82. I'm fine, that's a lie. Story 83. I was laid off in late 2024. The job market is difficult. I have been healthy my entire life, and then I experienced a serious health issue unexpectedly. I hope this year improves. Story 84. My cat and dog have passed away. However, I have a job now. My parents are becoming progressively ill. I have been unwell multiple times already. On a positive note, the weather is warming up. The country is facing significant challenges. I live in Massachusetts, so we are fine, but we are also a target for Democratic voting. I identify as a white male. Overall, I would rate things as average. Story 85. Busy. Work life is hectic as I am working on a promotion and have been assigned some exciting new tasks. They are well outside of my comfort zone. In my personal life, I am focused on maintaining a consistent work-life balance. Family life is chaotic. We are trying to develop a vacation spot for our RV away from home, and it's challenging being so far away. I just drove 14 hours round trip to mark a spot for the driveway. On top of that, the political situation is causing additional stress. Story 86. How is he still alive? Is probably how many start a conversation about me this year. I seriously think this is my last year. Story 87. I am unwell. I have a tooth infection in January, a urinary tract infection in February, and the flu in March. I am curious about what April will bring. Story 88. It snowed 7 inches in 8 hours where I live in January. It hadn't snowed that much at once in recorded history here. No big deal. It was gone in 2 days. Otherwise, it's been a year just like most. Working and keeping busy. Story 89. My home life with my fiancé and cats has been really nice and relaxing. Listening to the news and the direction our government has been taking our country makes me incredibly nervous. But I am enjoying the calm before any potential storm. Story 90. O universo me colocou em uma espécie de período sabático desde outubro, então está tudo bem tranquilo. Mas no final do mês, as coisas vão voltar ao normal e eu vou ter a real dimensão se 2025 será bom ou ruim. Story 91. It feels like the king in yellow is on his way to harm me and my family, and all that is left to do is sit around and wait for the inevitable. Story 92. It started with an emotional roller coaster of me asking the most amazing woman I have ever met out on a date, and her accepting it only to tell me in person that she was not interested. Then there was a week-long trip to Shanghai where one of our friends struggled to switch from a work mindset to a vacation mindset. By the end of the trip, at least 3 of us were taking painkillers to keep up with the pace required to see everything in time. The brand new boots I bought for the trip did not help the situation. It was an incredible experience, but I definitely needed another week off afterward. Now my grandmother is in the hospital. First appendicitis, now some heart issues. I guess with such a start, whatever comes next will not seem so bad in comparison. Story 93. Okay. I am waiting for winter to end so I can start mountain biking again. Story 94. It started off well until I found out my long-term girlfriend cheated, and everything fell apart. I left her, but I will be okay. Story 95. Not bad, actually. I started a new job that is better than my last one. The ice is melting outside my house, and I got a new tattoo. Story 96. Worst year of my life. Even if the rest of the months are good, I have been sick for 3 straight months now. I simply do not remember what it is like to be well. Story 97. Terrible. There was a possibility that if the stock market continued to perform well, I might retire a little early. There is no chance now. Thank you, Trump. Story 98. I'm reaching a point where it feels strange to share with friends when something unfortunate has occurred in my extended family, as I've already experienced 2 deaths and 2 separate medical emergencies. On the bright side, it keeps me distracted. Story 99. It feels like I am in a funhouse where the floor is moving back and forth quickly, and I have to get to the other side without falling. Somehow, I am staying steady. Story 100. Like an overly ambitious foreign college art film without subtitles. I dislike it, do not understand it, and am waiting for that pivotal scene. Story 101. I am finding myself through my hobbies. I am learning new ways to thrive and prosper in this evolving world. However, I am becoming quite antisocial. Trusting people outside of my circle is challenging, and my judgment of others is increasing significantly. When my grandmother, who is fearful of what this country is becoming, says I will do great in this new world, it really inspires me. Story 102. What is going on? Featuring Olivier Durand? Pretty much, yes. Story 103. 15 years ago, I put a lot of effort into making my life feel planned. I grew up in an abusive family that intentionally isolated me from society. To integrate into the modern world, I fought hard for a place in the best high school and university in my country, a chance to leave my country through a graduate school fellowship, a position with high social status, earning a 6-figure income in USD. But after achieving these milestones, I wondered, what else is there to do? In 2025, I realized that while I had run far away from difficult circumstances, I was unsure about what to pursue for a better future. I fill my weekends and holidays with work. I do not hate my job, and it has been a crucial factor in helping me escape my previous struggles. However, I'm uncertain about what else I want to pursue. Story 104. There is a measles outbreak in my area. I have scheduled a booster shot. We are preparing to withdraw from our 529 plan for our child's college, and the stock market is declining. The Federal Reserve has imposed significant penalties on a neighboring institution for political reasons. My job is not immediately at risk, but that could change. These all feel like unforced errors. Story 105. My mom has been diagnosed with dementia. I just bought my son a used car, but after a week of driving it, the engine failed. I also lost my job, and it's only the 3rd month of the year. Story 106. Outside of the political and societal strife that is occurring, I was recently diagnosed with a brain tumor and am scheduled for surgery. Not great, Jim. Story 107. We are currently buying a house and feel like we have spent 3 months waiting, yet we are still in nearly the same position we were in before, except for 1 or 2 small details. Story 108. I received a promotion that puts my salary over 6 figures, which has been my goal for the past 5 years. I purchased my dream car and have begun paying off some of my debt. Financially, I feel like I am finally doing well enough to enjoy some luxuries and have a good time, which is a surreal feeling considering the world appears to be crumbling around me. Story 109. Playing StarCraft 2 can feel frustrating when you know you're about to lose. Your production is overwhelmed by a skilled Zerg player, and every time you attempt to build additional pylons, an overseer drops creep, preventing your expansion. You know you need more pylons, but you're unable to create them. Just when you think they will rush your main and end the match, they retreat, prolonging the game. You cannot push, yet they choose not to finish you off. Story 110. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm always anxious and exhausted. What's the point? Even if there is a point, who cares? Story 111. It's great if you don't get caught up daily in discussions on social media about things that haven't happened yet with Trump. Story 112. Surprisingly calm, all things considered. My main focus is on growing my side business to create a little more financial stability. I am also working on nurturing my relationships and trying to remember to control what I can while not stressing about what I cannot. Story 113. HHHHHH. Story 114. A complete life changer. I left the healthcare industry and started working in retail. I am not earning as much, but I find myself much happier. Story 115. Many days concluded with the sun setting. On some of these days, I received compliments for my actions, while on others, I faced criticism. Who could have seen that coming? Story 116. The world is in turmoil. My country is only confronting the good guys, and I have a constant uneasy feeling in my gut. It is about as expected. Story 117. It's pretty good so far. I'm not happy with the decisions my country is making that could affect my daily life, but aside from that, I've been content on a personal level. I just need to shut off the news and live my life. Story 118. Well, Reddit has been a lot more obnoxious, but other than that, my year has been pretty good so far. Story 119. The best news I had all year was that we may all be hit by an asteroid, and I couldn't even enjoy that for more than a week. Story 120. As a Christian, everything I believed in and the values I was raised with are being destroyed for no reason. I feel betrayed and hurt. It makes me feel sick. Story 121. Things were difficult until yesterday. My wife had our baby, so I'm feeling quite content. It's easy not to focus on the challenges of the outside world when your entire focus is on taking care of a newborn and a toddler. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.